I wanted to tell you a bit of the story that comes from this book here called The Meteorites by Helen Gordon. I've been reading it a little bit recently. And it's a lovely book detailing the history and the development of the human relationship with meteorites. How, from the very beginning, things fell from the sky, but no one had any idea where they came from. Were they from the gods? What were they all about? Did it in fact even come from the sky? What's it made of? That kind of thing. And so if we start the historical story in the mid 18th century, people thought that basically all space beyond the moon was empty, except for an ineffable ether, weightless and transparent, undetectable physically or chemically. So a kind of like permeating medium. But basically space was empty beyond the moon. So mid 18th century. And then came this guy called Ernst Chladni. He was born in East Germany, and he took a look at the evidence and was a pretty bright guy, and kind of pieced together this idea, came up with three hypotheses. He was writing here in 1794. He said that masses of iron or stone do in fact fall from the sky. They form fireballs as they plunge through the atmosphere, and the bodies originate in cosmic space as either primordial masses that never aggregated into planets, or fragments of planets disrupted by explosions from within or collisions from without. Now that's very insightful and well ahead of his time. I think when he published, he was very reluctant to publish, but when he did publish, he kind of got very ridiculed by the scientific establishment at the time. People just didn't believe that to be true, because they couldn't possibly believe that things came from outer space and arrived here on Earth. So if we fast forward a number of years, people started to connect meteors that fell on the ground to the fireballs that they saw in space, in the air, and kind of like made the jump to the conclusion that it wasn't until 1959 when the hypothesis was proved correct. All right, so somewhere in Czechoslovakia at the end of the Cold War, 1959, people were starting to monitor satellites and missiles and things, and they detected a fireball, and they traced it back and worked out that this was evidence that identified the asteroid belt as the birthplace of this meteorite. They calculated the trajectory, backward trajectory. This wasn't a missile or nuclear weapon that came from Earth. This was coming from outer space. 1959, and then of course there was an avalanche of research which kind of like connected these meteorites, these meteors, these fireballs, these shooting stars are actually coming from outer space. They're coming from the solar system. And of course, now we know that the three hypotheses that Chladni came up with in 1794 are all correct. Masses of iron and stone do fall from the sky. They form fireballs as they plunge through the atmosphere. They burn up. Some of them, they burn up entirely, and that's their shooting star, and there's nothing left of it. It's burnt up. Some of it is big enough so it doesn't burn up all the way through the atmosphere, and then it lands on the Earth, and then we can pick it up. And we can pick it up and go, oh, this body originated in cosmic space, is what he said. That's absolutely true. And this is primordial material that never aggregated into a planet. It's just kind of leftover material from the beginning of the solar system that never actually got included in a planet, or indeed it's fragments of planets disrupted by explosions from within or collisions from without. That's exactly true. The entire asteroid belt is made of stuff that's left over or stuff that's originated in explosions. And so when we pick up a meteorite, something that's fallen to the earth, and we actually hold it in our hand, if you ever get a chance, this is the oldest thing that you'll ever be able to hold. It's possibly dating back about 5 billion years to the formation of our solar system, material that never quite got incorporated in a planet, and if it did, it was part of one of the planets, and it's just left over. 5 billion years old. Imagine holding that, the beginnings of our solar system, in your hand. You can go to the museum, you can see one, you may even be able to hold one, pick one up one day. Just an incredible story, and only just recently, in terms of the scheme of things, people actually understood that that is where they come from.